Hey, boys and ghouls, it's me, Pete. Scott and I have got a very special announcement for you. It's officially October. And that means that every episode this month is going to feature a new spooky movie that contributed to our little gay boy lives. I also want to take this time to dedicate our October episodes to our dear friend Naomi Chung. We recently lost Naomi after a long battle with cancer, and this is just a small way for us to pay tribute to her life. Naomi loved Halloween. It was her favorite holiday. She threw the best parties. She wore the coolest costumes. She introduced Scott and I to some truly great horror movies. Naomi was a dear friend to Scott and myself, and I do think that she would have loved to have contributed to this show. We miss her a lot, and this is our way of remembering the great times that we shared watching campy horror movies at our house in the Hollywood Hills, telling spooky stories of Hollywood history. We love you, Naomi. These next few episodes are for you. And enjoy the show, everybody.
When your father was a boy like you and living with me here in Norway, I told him about witches too, so that he would always be aware. Now, the most important thing you should know about real witches is this. Now listen very carefully. Real witches dress in ordinary clothes and look very much like ordinary women. They live in ordinary houses and they work in ordinary jobs. Every country in the world has witches. And there is a leader, a high witch of each country. And the ruler of all the witches is the most evil woman in creation, the Grand High Witch herself.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen.
Happy Halloween, y'all.
Happy October, everybody.
Happy October.
It's October.
October 1st,
It's
our
Halloween.
recording date.
Yeah.
It's Halloween all month.
It's Halloween.
Wow. Well, everybody listening, thanks for coming back to the show.
Yes.
My name is Pete.
And I'm Scott.
And these are the
movies that made us gay.
Yay!
An extra spooky theme song. It's going to be changing each episode this month.
I think it will. I think we're going to be
Yeah.
sassy this month and change out our
We're going to do
theme
something a little
song.
different.
But, we tried to be a little apropos, not too on the nose. Well, this is Movies That Made Us Gay. This is the podcast where we watch a movie from our past that contributed to our little gay boy lives. Scott, do you want to welcome our guests?
Two returning guests. Sort of a podcast crossover. You might
Indeed.
remember Lauren from Drafted Gorgeous and Ashley from Death Becomes Her.
Yay!
Thank
And
you
together
so
they
much.
are...
The ladies of Keep It Weird.
Yay!
Thanks for having us, guys.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Always.
Oh, thank you. Oh, my
We have a
gosh. Thank
reception
you
for
so
you.
Oh, sit
much.
down, everyone.
Stop.
Just stop.
That's too
Okay,
much.
that's
It's
good.
too
Blushing.
much. Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, welcome back to the show, everybody.
Welcome back to my apartment.
Oh,
It
Yeah.
is. I mean, this apartment is usually pretty spooky when you come in, but now it's extra special.
It is
Ashley's
It's got
gotten out all
Halloween.
of the good Halloween
very
decorations.
spooky, and it is a fire hazard.
Yeah, things could catch on fire in here, so everyone be wary.
If
Keep your eyes peeled.
If this ends abruptly, it's because we had to evacuate.
I see. All right. Well, I've got a bucket of water next to me.
Perfect. We're all
We all
set.
have LaCroix to throw on the flames.
Some fizzy water. We can just throw some fizzy water on it. Well, Scott, what movie did we watch today?
We watched The Witches from
Boy, oh boy.
1990, directed by Nicholas Roeg.
And
Now-
what else has Nicholas Roeg done?
Nicholas Roeg did Don't Look Now. Have you seen Don't Look
Oh my
Look Now?
God, are you
Yes.
kidding me?
Nicholas Roeg directed a great...
With Donald Sutherland?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Directed
Wow.
a great
That's one of the
ghost
best
story
horror
movie
movies
with
ever.
Donald Sutherland and Julie Christie.
Yeah.
And also, Don't Look Now has, I think, one of the scariest movie endings
Probably.
Of all time.
probably of all time.
Yeah.
So good. He also did Walkabout. a movie from Australia.
I don't think I've seen.
You should definitely check out Walkabout.
Okay.
And yeah, if you sort of look at his filmography, The Witches sticks out like a sore thumb.
Sure does.
It's one of his kind of few big studio movies that he did.
Okay.
And
All right.
a movie that I would watch a lot as a kid.
Me too.
I watched this one a very good amount, even though it kind of disturbed me in every way.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
still
Yes.
kept watching
It's a good opening scary movie for kids.
It sure is.
It introduces you to the world.
My children will watch this movie.
Oh, 100%. Wilder's watching immediately.
This was one of the movies that I had on VHS with an actual sleeve. Like I didn't purchase. My parents
Sure.
actually purchased a film because most of my movies were
Right.
like burned, recorded from television with
Yeah.
commercials
Of
and
course.
all.
That's what we
So
all
it'll
did.
be like Terminator 2
Yeah.
and I don't know, Risky Business.
Yeah.
And it's like, what a double feature. Let's watch both of them.
Let's do
So
it.
this was one of the ones that I actually had with a
You
case
wanted
and
the cover.
everything.
So
Yeah.
I would go over to my grandparents' house and go in their basement. It's like there's no windows in this basement. It's just like this cold, dank Montana basement.
The perfect place
And
to
they
watch.
It's more
had
damp.
The Witches.
and they had a Laserdisc collection.
They did.
Yes.
They were
Which we inherited
and
most of.
We inherited all
Ooh,
of their
that's awesome.
Laserdiscs.
Well, we pilfered most of
So
it.
I was a kid that grew up on the ancient technology of the giant Laserdisc.
Yes,
which
indeed.
kids Laserdiscs were like a DVD but gigantic.
The biggest DVD
The
you've
biggest
ever seen.
Yeah.
DVD that you've ever seen.
I don't
They're
know
huge.
if I've ever actually seen a movie on Laserdisc.
I don't know if that I have either. I know what a Laserdisc looks like, but I've never watched a
Yeah.
film.
We
with
have a
Laserdisc.
pretty
My school had one.
we have a pretty
A
good
player.
Laserdisc collection. Next time you come over, we'll have to pop one in.
How's the quality?
Not great.
It was like, it cannot be good.
So
I
no,
don't
they're
believe
pretty
it.
much
Not at
just
all.
ripped off of tape, and you can
Okay.
see it with the transfer. But I've heard that
Yeah.
older animated movies look better because I guess that they actually
Looks like they're flipping
they
the page.
actually scan.
Yeah.
I heard that they scan the film of
Oh.
it. So
Okay.
the animated films are supposed to look better, and I would watch The Witches pretty much whenever I went over to my grandparents' house. It was
Yeah.
The Witches, Batman Returns, and Inner Space
Nice.
that I would just watch in rotation.
And when
Over
you would
and
watch
over.
The Witches, did you identify more with Luke, or did you identify more with the Grand High Witch, or
The grandma.
or Miss Irvine, or the grandma?
I was the grandma.
The
I
grandma.
am the grandma.
What I think is really cool about this movie, especially for like kids and maybe little gay boys,
Uh-huh.
you were afraid of the Grand High Witch, but yet you wanted to be her.
Yet she's
also
fabulous.
fabulous.
But yet she's fabulous.
We both
So
chose
I
fabulous.
feel like I could definitely
fabulous, it really
identify
is.
that Luke was a kid about my age.
Yeah.
It's told through a kid's eyes, so that was very fun to see.
Also
Yes.
blonde with glasses.
Yeah.
And I was like, is that little Scott?
He gave off really strong Luke from The Haunting of Hill House
Oh,
vibes.
definitely.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, girl.
Yeah.
I never
Good
even thought of that
call.
until now, but yeah.
Yes.
Technically,
100%.
Luke from Haunting of Hill House gave off strong Luke
Yes.
From the Witches,
The Witches
vibes.
vibes.
Let's
But-
think
Correct.
about what came first.
And also, I remember whenever I would play dress up with my sister and stuff in my grandparents'
Which was
basement,
often.
which was probably often.
Yeah.
We used to have these long, like Halloween witch fingers.
Oh my god.
Oh,
that would
what?
like go on your fingers.
They weren't just bugles, the chip.
Haha.
and you also used to do this when you ate bugles. I would always pretend to be the Grand High Witch.
Yes,
in them.
obvi.
Because the Grand High Witch has these fabulous long fingernails.
Fabulous.
So
yeah,
good. They
so-
matched her horrid
Oh,
face.
yeah. No. She has long fingernails, but when her gloves are off, she
Yes.
has long fingers as well,
Yes.
and they are horrifying.
They're the
Horrifying.
scariest, but nothing scarier than her chest. I
Yes.
feel like
Or her
that when
back.
it, yeah, and
her
back.
décolletage.
Oh, yes, it is the décolletage.
Yeah.
The horny, horrible.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
terrible.
So, Pete, did you grew up on this movie, right?
I mean, I remember seeing it when it was released. I'm a little older than everyone in the room.
What?
But I do remember seeing it when it was released, and we did have it on VHS. My brother is your age, Scott, so we did have it around the house, and I did watch it a lot. There were just some lines from Anjelica Huston that I would find myself repeating a lot, and we'll get there when
Who
we get
spoke?
there. Who spoke? Yeah, I did like Miss Irvine, who was played by Jane Horrocks from
Love that character.
Absolutely Fabulous.
Yes.
She's Bubble. And she's like her little. She gets kind of playing the
Little
same
assistant,
character
right?
from Absolutely Fabulous. Yeah, she's playing little assistant. I loved her. I do love the grandma. I love that she smoked like cigars,
And I just
cigarillos.
loved her voice.
That's
She-
a very doll.
Yeah,
She had a great
Character
voice.
She
quality.
did that
Yeah.
little clip from the beginning of this.
Yep.
Yeah,
Her narration
Wonderful.
was buttery.
yeah.
Have you seen?
great.
Have you seen? Her name is May
Zetterling.
Zetterling. Have you seen her IMDb photo?
No.
No.
It's like a 1950s glamour shot.
Whoa.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, she was. Yeah,
Hey, hot
She was
stuff.
a-
she's from like Sweden.
Oh
She's
my
from
God.
Sweden, and
You
she
could
was
tell she was
beautiful.
beautiful.
Sweden. Yeah.
This sounds so rude, but she was beautiful once.
She made. She made
like, you look
very
older now,
few
but I can
movies
tell you
in
were good
Hollywood,
looking.
and
Yeah.
The Witches was one of them.
I mean,
Wow.
she might have actually been a witch, like
she
in
may
real
have.
life.
Yeah,
That brooch she's wearing.
there are some things that we talked about when we watched this movie recently that as a kid you kind of pick up on, but as adults we were just really fascinated with Grandma's backstory.
Yes.
Yeah.
How she lost that bit of her pinky finger.
Yes.
Talking about when she was a child searching the world for the Grand
Yeah.
High Witch.
Well, for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, it begins and you're kind of like, why does this old lady know so much about witches?
Yeah.
Like, is she just spinning some yarn
Yep.
Yep.
to scare her grandson? Or are witches real?
She's
Yeah.
sitting
You
down
learn
this
very
kid.
quickly witches are real.
Yes.
But yeah, she's missing that finger. That's how she said. He says, like, why do you know so much about witches? And she's like,
Yep.
because. And she shows her
Like, you said
nubby
that was
finger.
an accident. A horrible accident.
Now,
Oh, and her friend Erica.
was she
poor
searching
Erica.
the world for the Grand High Witch, or did she just come in contact with a witch as a child and got injured but got away?
I feel like she tells him that as a child, she looked for the Grand High Witch, but maybe
Yeah.
that's not where she lost her finger.
We don't know
I
the
see
whole
it-
That was
story.
we
that
don't
was a
know.
bicycling accident.
I see it more grandma as like in her 20s, and she was like traveling Europe looking for. I think it was something that she did when she was like.
Or maybe she was looking for the Grand Witch of Norway or Sweden. Or
Sure.
something. She said every country has
She
a
did.
Grand
That's true.
Witch, and then there's the Grand High Witch.
So what I
That
think
rules
is
them all.
Love it.
What I think is genius about this, especially in 1990, that this is like the oral tradition. Like,
Yeah.
there's no internet.
No.
Like, you can't just look up, because now I feel like kids would be looking up.
It's like
information
Slender
about
Man.
witches
Google the
now.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could
Or,
just
like,
look up
you could
Slender
just
Man and
Google
be
it.
like,
It'd be
oh,
on
no,
creepy
it's
pasta.
Yeah.
But this
totally.
is something that's handed down from generations orally,
By
Yeah.
word of
which I
mouth.
think is really cool.
I do love that. She had to tell Luke what's up.
Yes,
Yes.
to protect him.
Mm-hmm.
And her description of real witches is
the best.
It's so just
The mythos
yeah.
is
Because it's so
awesome.
singular to this movie. You never
Right.
hear about
Any of the sensible
Yeah.
shoes.
Well, they have no toes.
Right. It's the square. They have to wear sensible shoes, which cracks
They-
me up.
no
They-
pointy shoes.
Yeah, you can't be
Their
stylish.
scalps are itchy from wearing the wigs.
because they're bald.
And if they
Purple
pinch their
eyes.
noses, it's because witches can't stand the smell of
Little
clean children,
Yes.
So they'll hold their nose.
Yes.
And the
Purple
telltale
eyes.
The
purple
purple tinge
shine.
to their eyes.
Yes.
You know
I would
what's-
love to
You know
have
what's funny
purple
is we
eyes.
just got this on Blu-ray, and all of my copies of it, you can never see the beautiful detail of their contacts.
Oh,
that
the
they're
contacts
wearing.
are great.
That
Yeah.
They're like a spiral
Yeah.
violet contact.
I think
Yeah.
they're all kind of different. Some
Yeah.
of them are like
I was going to say,
yeah.
Angelica Huston seemed to be the coolest,
Oh,
I
yeah, for
thought.
sure.
All of the close-ups on hers was like, those are
Yeah.
stunning.
We brought her up, and I feel like we need to go into it because it was literally like there are a lot of things in this movie that are scary, but the
Yeah.
scariest thing for me growing up and still today is Erica.
Oh, my
Yes.
goodness.
Yes. Can you
What
imagine
the
being stuck in a
fuck?
freaking painting?
Erica came in contact with a witch,
Yes.
and the witch cursed her into a painting where she had to spend the rest of her life.
Grew old there.
Yeah, very frightening.
I was there in Erica's house 6 weeks later.
Good day, Frau Larson.
Come in, Helga. Have some cake.
I was her best friend when it all happened. Then that day, While Erica's mother was pouring the coffee, her father came walking towards us. It was as if though he had seen a ghost. His face was all twisted up as he walked towards the painting behind me. There, as if it always had been there, was Erica, locked in the painting, gazing at us.
I don't believe it. You saw her in the painting, Grandma?
Many times. But the peculiar thing was that little Erica kept on changing her position in the picture.
No.
So one day she'd
Nope,
be feeding
I'm
the
out.
ducks, and the next
it.
day she'd
Pass.
be inside the farmhouse,
Nope.
looking out of a window.
Did you see her moving in the picture?
Nobody did. She was always just a figure, motionless in the painting. As the years went by, Erica grew older too. And only 5 or 6 years ago, the old woman that Erica had become, bent and frail in the painting, began to disappear. Until one morning, she was gone.
Yeesh.
It's so.
And there's,
Freaky.
and there's nothing more scarier as a kid of being like snatched by someone.
Right.
When you're like out,
Yes.
when you're out of your house,
Yes.
like walking to school or something.
My grandmother had a painting in her living room that looked just like the painting from this movie. Obviously, there was no ghost trapped inside that I know of, but I would literally run past it because I just knew that if I looked at it, I would see Erica
Yeah.
somewhere
She'd
in the
pop out in
painting.
the farm.
And
Her
I was like,
sad
no,
face.
her sad face looking out the window, just like,
Every
just the thought of her changing position that
Yeah.
you'd walk by and she'd be somewhere else.
she'd be
I
feeding the
cannot.
ducks. Or she'd be,
every iteration of Erica in the different positions and poses, she did look very sad. She was
Yes.
just very
Yeah.
like.
Like, I'm trapped here.
I mean, she got to live her life in this beautiful like cabin in this like wooded, forest. Very lovely, but
there's no way that was good.
No.
still scary.
And then later in the movie, there's another painting.
So do you think?
At the
Oh, yeah.
hotel.
Do you think the Grand High Witch put that person in there?
I don't know.
I always used to wonder that when she walks by it.
I
Well,
didn't
'cause she
fully
walks by it and
understand
she,
that.
like,
She
flicks
scratches it.
Or
Yeah.
scratches it like,
Well,
Right.
and then that little girl just disappears.
Right. So I was kind of like, did you just put that little kid out of their misery?
Yeah.
You didn't let them grow old? I was
That's
sort
what
of
I'm
like,
thinking.
what was that one about? I didn't fully get that.
I think Ava, the Grand High Witch, she goes by Ava.
She does.
she does.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
How do you know
She goes
that?
by Ava. I think that she knows
IMDb.
who that person is. There's a
think?
lot that's unsaid with this backstory that I kind of love.
Yeah.
That it just relies on your imagination.
Right.
Because it's one of those things that now there is a remake of this movie that's
Yes.
in the works right now. It was just shot. Robert Zemeckis just did it. But I feel like now they're going to have to build this whole universe and over-explain everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
And
we
there's-
don't need it.
We don't.
And there's kind of-
Clearly
we
there was
have
something
brains.
beautiful to
There's
the
kind
first one.
of
We have
beauty in
brains.
that this movie really doesn't. It just
It does
leaves
not
it
at
all
all.
to your imagination. Like Grandma being in her 20s just being a witch hunter.
Right.
I want to see that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's what we're imagining.
See, but then you'll end up getting like a 10-episode limited series of like
True.
Grandma.
The witch hunter.
Just like in my big business, like Rose and Sadie, like the late 70s years of them, like at Studio 54, like owning their parents' company. I want to see this prequel series, but maybe we'll get it.
We might get it one day.
Maybe if I have my way. So, Luke's parents die in a car crash.
die in a
Yeah.
car
Tragically, this movie is full of pathos,
Immediately.
tragedy,
Yes.
spooks and scares. just
Immediately,
like,
the parents are like,
Yeah.
"Hi,
Out
we
of
love
there.
you," and
And
then the
then
next
they're
scene,
done.
it's like they're dead.
yeah,
Ugh, and Luke comes into their room looking for them with all of his drawings.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
But this is, Scott, you pointed it out, this is another one of those instances where as a kid you're just like, my parents don't go to nearly enough black tie events.
Nope.
Right?
Just every
going
movie,
out in a dress
yeah, or you
and
just
suit.
expected your adulthood to just be every time you would leave the house, it would just be to like some sort of a gala opening.
Yes.
But if you did, good thing we're not going to. I'm knock on wood.
I know.
Because everybody
That's where
always,
terrible
I was
things
going to say,
happen.
you've got Batman.
Yep.
Yep.
You've got
Jumanji.
Hook.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Jumanji, they're going to a nice event.
Yeah.
All
It was the
Robin
other way around.
Williams
Adventures
movies.
Yeah,
in
every
Babysitter.
Robin Williams movie.
Poltergeist 3.
Poltergeist 3.
They're always headed out.
Yeah.
Poltergeist 3. First of all, I know you already did this movie, but it was a high rise
Yes.
that they lived in.
Yes.
There was also a gallery that she worked in.
Yep.
In the high rise,
In the
I
high
believe.
In the high rise.
Yes.
They never left the high rise.
No.
The only
What a
time they did was
beautiful
to go
life.
to school.
It's one of those like futuristic high rises of the future that has like
Ah,
a
yes.
mall and like
one of those.
a genetics lab,
Pool.
you know,
Everything.
an
You
art
don't have to
gallery.
go.
I like to think
Yeah,
it's a
all
comment
there.
on like capitalism
Totally.
and greed of the 80s.
You know,
Yeah.
There it is.
like Gremlins too.
Oh, God. I can't.
It's exactly like the clamp.
We don't have enough time
the clamp
to
building
get
Discuss
in
that.
Gremlins
We need to break that down.
that old chestnut.
So Grandma gets full custody, apparently,
Yes.
of Luke.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was the parents' wishes.
And they
And
go
they
back.
go back to
They go back to
England.
England because Grandma has this rockin' country house.
Hell yeah, she does.
Well, okay. So Grandma gets stricken with a mild case of diabetes.
Which
Jesus.
I have to say, I laughed. I love the grandma the whole movie, except for when she has her diabetic fainting moment.
But
We find out she's sick. She just
I
goes,
I have a theory.
and like slowly falls on the table. I was like, okay, where did your acting chops go
Oh,
in this
I love
one
that.
moment? Like,
I have a theory on that whole hotel fainting thing. We'll get to it later.
Okay.
oh, okay.
But, okay. So,
No, you're talking about the first time she faints.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
talking
the
about
first- yeah,
like when
sure.
we find out she has diabetes.
Yeah.
Her and
Yeah.
Luke are just sitting at the table, and it's like, oh me, oh my, like the worst fake faint I've ever seen. And then she smokes a cigar, and I love
Yeah.
it.
why diabetes? I mean, I guess
'Cause
maybe
it's
so
pneumonia
they can,
in
It
the
was
book.
very popular in the 80s.
It's
Okay.
pneumonia in the
Okay.
book. I don't know why they changed it. That's
maybe, well, because I was going to say maybe it had to do because she's constantly talking about like sweets that she
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
have,
Oh,
and
you're
it's like a
right.
thing in the movie.
ways
right.
ways for the witches around her to kind of like
that makes sense.
keep poisoning her or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
but
we
it was just funny when she said it, when the doctor was like, she's got a mild case of diabetes. I was like,
Like,
what?
okay.
Excuse
mild-
me, it
Is
felt
that a
out of
thing?
clue.
Jesus.
So we should probably talk about the woman who Luke meets outside of Grandma's house
With the snake.
With the
Yes,
snake.
the woman in black.
I
She's so scary.
love this woman.
I do too.
She's amazing. So she was in Sid and Nancy. If you ever saw
Oh.
Sid and Nancy
Yeah.
with Gary
Yeah.
Oldman, she's one of their friends in Sid and Nancy.
She looks like the principal from Sabrina.
Yes, she does.
She does.
Miss
She
Wardwell.
does.
Yeah.
Miss Wardwell. Thank you. I couldn't think of her name.
Yeah, she does. That's
She
funny.
really does.
Mm-hmm.
She is very cool.
Her name
She's
is-
someone I'd want to be.
And
Yeah.
Anne Lambton.
Lambton.
Anne Lambton.
Okay. Yeah, she has Snake, and she's like trying to get him to come out of the treehouse with the chocolate.
A bar of chocolate.
A bar of chocolate.
Did
And
you
she's
have a
got-
sample of her dialogue?
I do. I mean, I have most of it. We can just listen to some of it.
Hello, young man. What a magnificent treehouse.
Ugh.
Did you build it yourself?
Dad and I did.
I love her like punk rock black leather jacket.
Oh,
It has like
Like-
studs in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to dress like her.
Yeah.
She has a
Something
cool black
I
beret.
think you'll
She's
like.
carrying around a snake.
Jump down and
Yeah,
I'll
just
show
in her
you.
purse.
No,
What?
no, thank you very much.
She's got that like smoker voice.
Oh, yeah.
It's worth a
This
lot
is
of
private
money.
property.
There's nothing to
This
be
is
frightened
private
of.
property.
I just wanted
Tell
to
him.
give you
Tell him,
this.
Luke.
Do you have a permit
I
to be
find him
here?
on my walk. He's quite harmless. See? Little boys love snakes.
I was trying to see her shoes in the shot to
Yeah,
see if she had
it's yours.
square, sensible shoes.
I was too. I don't think it shows her feet though.
I'll leave him here if you like. Then you can come down on your own and get him. But they wriggle away quite quickly. Unless you tell them not to.
And she's speaking parcel tongue to the snake.
I was thinking
Yeah.
that. I was like, did this just turn into Harry Potter? He has a good
Shorty Claire.
Yeah.
Shorty Claire. Did you just quote Rockadoodle?
Yes, I did.
Oh, goodness.
Can we do that
Wow.
movie now?
Yeah, you're welcome.
What's your name? Is it
Luke.
Luke? Thought so. Here
Thought
you are,
so.
Luke. A big bar of chocolate. And you
Here comes Granny.
Here comes an old bag.
Yes.
So,
But this is how terrorizing or like terrifying the universe of this movie is. That you can just be playing in your treehouse and this witch just walks down the street
Yeah.
well,
with a snake in her bag.
She kind of lures him like a pedophile would.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
oh,
Some
come down. I have
candy.
candy. Do you want candy?
Yes.
You wanna
No.
pet
What
the
about
snake?
a snake? Boys love snakes.
Yeah.
Also, I'm missing my puppy, and I need help finding my puppy.
And I need help putting this couch into my van.
Unmarked white van.
Are you a size 12 by any chance?
But
Yeah,
Luke
she
is too
definitely-
smart.
No,
Yeah.
Saw them purple eyes.
Yeah, he
because
knows.
his grandma taught him well.
Yeah.
She a bad bitch.
But yeah, there is a lot of like stranger danger kind of like overtones
Commentary
to this
a little
movie.
bit,
Yeah,
yeah.
because Erica Foley just gets snatched, like you said, Scott. She's just walking down the street, getting a quart of milk, and she just gets grabbed.
Ugh.
And
It's a scary world.
yeah, it is. Norway in the 80s.
We don't want to be there.
No. Anywhere
Well,
but there.
I guess Erica was more
This
like
would
the
have been
50s.
the 50s.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a long time ago. Still.
But still, yeah, they're still going after
Still,
these
dangerous world.
punk rock broads going after Luke with bars of chocolate.
Yeah, good for Luke being smart, listening to Granny, and then
Yes.
Grandma saves him coming out for dinner time
Yes.
so he can be safe. Which I think in the book, I remember, I don't think she comes out to get him until late into the night. I don't know
Ooh.
if you guys remember this detail, because I remember being freaked out by it. Like, he said no and didn't go down and had to wait until nightfall.
Oh, my God.
And then his
Oh,
grandma
geez.
finally
Up
came
the
out and was
tree.
like, where is he? I haven't seen him all night. And he was like, I've been waiting all night because there was a witch.
Oh,
For
wow.
someone who believes, or not believes, someone who knows witches are real that like eat children, you'd think that you'd check on your grandson
Before
more.
nightfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They
what
made
do
it
I
a little
know?
more lighthearted.
I'm not
Yeah.
a parent. So, then they go somewhere. Why did they go to this hotel?
She needs a seaside holiday because she
Yeah.
has diabetes.
The diabetes.
It was prescribed
On a-
by the doctor.
on
You
account of
remember
the
that?
diabetes.
She
Yeah.
was like, take this medicine and take a seaside
They need
trip.
some
Yeah.
seaside
Okay.
air.
Yeah.
Oh,
Obviously.
I meant to look up this hotel and the history of it, but I never did.
It looks so
It
gorgeous.
looks,
It looks really
it's very
cool.
pretty.
It's a real
about
place.
it.
You can
And
probably go stay
Rowan
there.
Atkinson runs the place.
So
Mr.
good.
Bean. I was so excited about
You know
Mr.
what's funny
Bean.
is that my reference for Mr. Bean was from this movie because
Same.
I didn't watch Mr. Bean as a kid, and then I remember
I know him more from this than anything
being
else.
over at my grandparents' house and being like, "Oh,
Well,
it's the guy that ran the hotel for
but
the witches."
to be
but his
fair,
character was so different in this.
yes. To be fair, Mr. Bean didn't start until maybe the year this movie came out or the year after.
Probably like
It
1990,
feels like he's
1991.
eternal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
hasn't he
when
been around
and it's that BBC kind of thing where it
Mr.
just
Bean.
looks like, what year is this? Is it the
That's so true.
60s?
Yeah,
Like the
yeah.
70s,
Can't tell.
yeah.
Faulty Towers could be like the 90s. It could be the 80s. Who knows? I think it was the mid 70s. But yeah. And then they also do that thing where it's shot on video inside, but when they go outside, it's shot on film, which looks even older because
yes.
it's like super grainy. Yeah. So Mr. Bean feels eternal, but I think it didn't start until like
Wow.
92 or something.
Yeah, because I remember seeing Mr. Bean after the witches and being
Yeah.
like, "Oh wait, this guy's like silly and doesn't speak.
Yes.
What is this character? Like
Yeah.
he was this rude hotel manager
Yeah.
in
Who
The
was
Witches.
fucking everybody.
Yeah,
Oh, my
which
goodness.
that was one of the things I mentioned earlier. This might have been off mic that there were so many references I didn't understand as a child. I
Oh,
did
yeah.
not understand that him and the maid were coming out from banging in that one scene.
That maid,
Yeah.
that maid was going through it.
She
That maid
had
had
a
a
rough
time.
time, and her
Yeah.
hair always looked like she had just been electrocuted.
She
I
was frazzled.
was
Yeah.
worried about her.
But she also looks super British too.
Yes.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what it is, but I don't know if it's the frazzled hair or the crazy eyebrows or what.
Yep.
But she just looked like an extra in European Vacation to
Yes,
me.
100%
Yeah.
had that look.
But yeah, they get to this hotel, this fabulous seaside hotel,
Yes.
which also happens to be holding a convention for the Royal.
I was just looking up just to
Yeah,
get the
it was a
full name
long
of it.
title.
Yeah, it
But
was,
it's like the most suspicious.
it's like the count,
sounding.
It's like the
count-
prevention of child
the Royal
Cruelty.
Society
Yeah.
for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children.
Yes.
If you saw that on
Sketch.
a banner walking
I'd be like,
into a
they
hotel,
are cruel to
you
children.
knew
Yep.
you would know that
They
something
lying.
would be
pedo
out.
convention.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a pedo ring.
So
This is a pizza shop.
So this
Yeah.
lobby is just filled with crazy extras for these witches that
Yes.
I'm obsessed with all of them.
all of them.
I have so many questions.
Why were they all men?
Why were they all men?
Yeah.
I have a joke
Obviously
quote
men.
from this scene. Joe said, hold on, I wrote it down because it made me laugh so hard. Joe said all of the witches look like they are members of the New York Dolls.
Buster
Yes.
Poindexter looking mofos.
100%.
David Johansen was one
Yes.
of them.
Yes. So
I
much.
He
think
wasn't
it-
really, but
I think it works just because it's so crazy.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that this universe is pretty kooky to begin with, so
Right. But
why not?
why not
these,
throw in some guys?
These
Do you
women
remember
sort of
watching-
looks mannish.
Do you remember watching this as a kid and thinking to yourself, "That's a man,"
That's a
or
Oh no, I think
I never thought
I
they
think
were men.
I never thought they were
never
men.
thought they were
It was
men.
like, these are
I
just
think
very
I could-
ugly witches.
yeah,
Oh, I definitely clocked as a kid.
you were like, "I just see a messy man."
I just
It's a messy man.
No, I don't think I did. I think I was
I
just
did
like,
not.
okay, these are just some witches. And there are some like featured extra witches, I guess you would call them.
I love
They
all
were
of them.
women.
They were women. And there's like the one in like the Tina Turner wig.
Yes.
There's like an
The
Asian
short
one in like a permed
blonde hair
wig.
was the best.
Yeah.
I loved that. And there was one with like a woman had a huge Frankenstein forehead with
Yes.
a little brown pixie cut. I really enjoyed her a lot.
Yes. And I think they just had their bald cap with their scalp rash underneath the wig, so they would just be easy.
The head rash, like when it would do the close-ups and them scratching
scalp
it, that was when I
rashes.
first started to
Yeah.
get the vomit stuck
Yeah.
in my throat.
There's
Yeah,
the
so
really
hideous.
there's the very 80s looking one in the mustard colored dress with the long brown hair. I also love her.
Is that the Tina Turner wig?
No.
No, okay.
I don't know
There's
if I
so
remember.
The
many.
one with the Tina Turner wig looks crazy when they first introduced it too.
I love how
Yes.
excited they all just get through the whole meeting.
When they
There's-
see the Grand Thai Witch in the lobby,
They
they just
lose their goddamn
minds.
minds.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like Elvis
Yeah.
To
coming
them,
to your
yeah.
convention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's when you fall in love with Anjelica Huston. She doesn't give a shit. She just
No.
walks by all of them like, yes, no, goodbye.
No.
Like, she's just,
Do your jobs.
yes, get out of my face.
I wonder, because that was one of my questions I wrote down. Mostly men in the witch audience. Why? And I said, I guess the idea was that these men would make uglier women
Yeah,
than
Yeah.
women.
I think so.
They could
Or,
have done it with the makeup team, though.
Right.
Well, I wonder if it had something to do with. Sorry. I wonder if it had something to do with because when the book came out, it was banned in the UK
Oh, really?
because people perceived it as being misogynist.
Okay.
Because only women could be witches.
Right.
And Roald Dahl was actually hilarious because his Roald Dahl was like, I can't change that. Only women are witches. There's no such thing as a male witch. If it makes you feel any better, only men can be ghouls. That's like what he said. So like, I
Screw you
don't know if that was something where I don't think it would be, but I don't know if that was something like, just put some men in there. So it's not.
We're equality.
So I don't know. So women
Yeah,
are
that feels
mad.
weird.
Maybe they were just running low on female extras and they just had to pull in the crew.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Okay,
Two.
so here's my read on this. There is a line, and it's paid off with Anjelica Huston, but there is a line from Grandma when she's describing real witches where she says, under their human masks, their faces are hideous.
Yeah. Okay.
She says that, and none of them take off their masks, but Anjelica Huston. But maybe that's just like part of their like hideousness that
I
they're
always
just so
got that-
ugly that they don't make convincing.
I always got that.
Yeah.
A certain,
Maybe.
I always got when I was a kid a certain few, like only certain witches had masks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
You-
she does
you
say
had
that
to
line.
be pretty. You
yeah.
had to be pretty evil to have a mask.
Yeah,
Maybe these men just have their
Or
masks on.
ancient.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
older. Yeah, and they just get more decrepit and
So
gross
we'll
looking.
do screenshots and put it on our Instagram of some of these
Gotta
guys.
see
in
some of these
drag,
people.
Yeah.
because
Boy, boy.
they're golden,
They are so
especially when they're in the lecture hall and
Yeah.
you can get a better view of all of them.
Yeah,
And they sort of like rearrange a lot of their extras. There's not always
Yeah.
the same people sitting in certain seats.
because not only are they
Yeah.
big, burly British men in dresses, but they take their wigs off for the big scene because they're they're behind closed doors,
Right.
so they don't have to wear their wigs anymore.
Remove your shoes.
So now they're just bald men in dress.
Yep.
So they're really standing
So they're
out now.
really,
Yeah. Then you really are like, that is a man sitting over there.
Yeah. So basically, what happens is, I always like to do this because my mom listens to your podcast, so I want to make sure that she knows what's happening in the movie. So Luke sneaks into this convention, right? Does he sneak in, or does he follow food? Does he?
He sneaks
playing
in
with
because
his
he's playing with
mice.
his two
Playing with his
mice, and he
mice,
thinks
that's
they
right.
need to be in the lecture hall for some
Well,
reason.
he has to hide them from Rowan Atkinson.
True.
Yeah.
So he
Or they
sneaks
just
in
all
there,
flood in behind
and then
him.
all the witches come in for this convention. And once the doors are closed, they start to disrobe and
Yes.
they take their
Angelica
wigs
Houston
off,
says
and
you
they
can take
their
off your
shoes
shoes
off.
and you can take off your wigs.
That prosthetic on Anjelica Huston is amazing.
It's
is
so
when
impressive.
she pulls
Fantastic.
her
Yeah.
forehead skin
Down.
off,
Yeah.
and are the doors locked and bolted, and she has like her
Half of it's
forehead-
off.
As the
She has-
door's locked and
She has
bolted.
her forehead like
In her hand.
in her hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such
so
impressive
amazing.
effects.
They do a lot of really clever things with the like levels of her peeling the face off or
Yep.
putting it on, and people crossing in front of camera to like to mask where these weird cuts are.
But it's so impressive.
It's super
We should also
impressive.
mention
Time.
that Jim Henson's a producer on this movie.
Yeah.
and
Yes, I
and
do remember
Henson
that.
Studios did
Yeah.
the puppets when they become mice,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm assuming this prosthetic too.
Yeah. I
Well,
think-
and Jim
yeah.
Henson was really, really great when it came to, like, for example, with the mice. Because the witch's plan is that they're going to poison the children and turn them into mice.
Yes.
And so what happens is you have these little mice puppets when they're talking, but when they're in action, it's actual
real.
mice
Yes.
doing all of these. They're trained mice doing all of these things.
At one point, a mouse has a bottle in his tail.
Yeah,
and it's
it's
amazing.
Yeah. A real mouse.
I know. That's why I'm like, excuse
Is holding
me.
a bottle,
How
just
did you
running
do
around.
this?
Yeah.
So it's really amazing how realistic that is when you go from one to the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It was good transition.
The
for sure.
mice puppets, the animatronics and the
Yeah.
puppets are some of the greatest animatronics I've ever seen.
Yeah, especially as kids too. When you watch these movies as kids, you just really watch it without that thing where you're just like, how they do that. You're just like, okay, that's a mouse.
Okay, it's a
that's,
mouse
That's
now.
a talking mouse. You
Yeah.
know?
No, I believed it. I was into it.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's pretty
I
amazing.
did read that there were different sizes for the different shots depending on how far away the mouse was, how big. There were like larger, actual, full-on hand puppets that were the size of like a hand puppet.
Oh, wow.
For when the mouse, the mouse,
The mouse was
moved,
kind of
and it was
like
kind of a close-up
talking.
Jim
shot.
Henson,
They
man.
use those very sparingly because
Yeah.
they were.
This was probably one of the last movies that Jim Henson oversaw.
Wow.
I think he probably died in like 91, 92.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
definitely one of the last. What a guy.
The transformation as well
Oh my gosh!
from child to mouse.
Bruno's transformation
so we
was
should probably,
insane.
before we get to the
Oh, yeah,
transformation,
yeah.
we
Let's
should
talk
probably
more
go
about
into just
Angelica.
the witch's big, Anjelica Huston's big reveal. She takes off her mask, and
She's hideous.
this fucking face, man, will
That's what scared me the most as a child.
scare the shit out of any child that watches this.
Nightmares.
And
Yeah.
this performance by Anjelica Huston is insane.
Her voice, her body movements, everything
And
is
there's
perfect.
certain lines that I don't even know what she's saying.
Me
No.
either. I can't understand her.
Yeah,
So the Grand High Witch speaks in an accent. What country do you think she's from?
Germany.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
thinking.
Oh yeah,
Germany.
because she
Germany or
named
like
her cat
Austria?
like Liebchen,
Liebchen,
which
yeah.
is a German word. Yeah,
Yeah.
Liebchen.
Ashley's cat looks like Liebchen.
Oh, she does.
Every time I saw that cat, I was like, Gabby.
I do
Yeah.
think she's German, but it's so thick you can't understand.
It's very.
It would
thick,
make
and
sense just because Germany is a very old European country. The Grand High Witch would be from there.
And that
Right.
and she lived in like a gingerbread house.
Yeah, so it's kind
the
of
Black Forest.
Grimm's brothers that
Yeah.
it makes sense.
True.
I like to think that the Grimm's brothers based their stories actually on this Grand High Witch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good theory. We should follow that down a rabbit hole.
I love
So-
the meeting of these
Yeah.
witches because it feels, even though it's very witchy, it does feel like
A
every
convention.
business's convention because she's
yeah.
like, these are our numbers.
Yes.
for the year.
Yeah.
I don't like what I'm
This
seeing.
witch summit.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys can do better.
Yeah.
Let's improve. I have a new
Yeah.
product.
In this
It's so great.
hotel
So
conference room.
how do we feel about the witches, the Grand High Witch's master plan?
to change every child in the world into a mouse?
Into a mouse. Do you think it's solid? Do you think she's thought all the way through this?
Well,
with
she's
this plan?
not. She's not poisoning them. Why?
Bitches back only with magic.
I love how sing-songy that line is. Witches work only
Who
with
spoke?
magic. Who spoke?
Damn.
Yeah,
It's
they
just
won't. You can't just do poison. That's too straightforward.
Yeah.
You gotta do a little magic.
And the thing is you poison them. Like if you put one drop, like one dose in, it won't transform the child until 2 hours later, right?
It's
Unless-
time
So
release.
There are.
Yeah.
She planned that out.
In this bottle,
they're not going to get caught.
500 doses.
100.
So A, it's time released, so they don't. So their hands are clean. B, the kids turn into mice, so they don't just drop dead, and there's all these
Right.
kid corpses.
And there's
True.
more questions.
Yeah,
like, I
and
don't
so
know.
they just disappear.
I
And
think
she's
that-
saying she wants, when the parents see a mouse in their house, then the parents will be the ones to kill,
Kill
their
own
own
kid.
children.
So the
This
blood is
actually,
on their
you know,
Yep.
I didn't think this plan was completely solid.
Yeah,
but
hello.
now that you're explaining
Have we
it,
convinced you?
you've kind of convinced me.
It's solid and it's pure evil because she's
Yeah.
making the parents kill the kid.
But
Yeah.
the one thing that I feel like the Grand High Witch didn't anticipate, she needed a test subject. She didn't know the frickin' mouse was going to talk.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
and they
Just
were
a little-
able to talk to Granny.
It's a little flaw
Yeah,
in her
yeah.
in her potion.
Yeah.
We were talking about who we related to most in this movie. Bruno. For sure. Because I would eat all them pastries too. He's like Augustus Gloop,
These
who
have
I
got
also relate
raisins
to.
in them.
So that's
I hope
not,
these have butter in them, not margarine.
I hate margarine.
that
can tell
was
the
not
difference.
that little boy's voice, right?
I don't know.
I think
was it not?
was dubbed.
There was a lot of ADR in this movie.
I was going to say
because-
some of the dubs were
Yeah.
awful.
Well, because I feel like Bruno spends way more time in this movie as a mouse
As a
than
mouse,
a
yeah.
boy.
And the voice is so
So they
perfect.
could
And the
have just-
voice is
yeah.
so perfect that I think that
Sure.
they were like,
Oh,
"Oh,
it's possible.
we want this to be the voice actor."
And
But-
it's that kid's only acting job.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I mean,
wasn't
possibly.
the worst.
Yeah. They
His
Could have done more.
His IMDb photo is him mid transformation.
Yeah. The scary.
actually
like-
hilarious. When he's like just a chubby kid with mouse
Yeah.
ears, and a
He's
weird
like, "I
nose.
was born to do this."
yeah.
Yeah, his transformation also greatly disturbed me, like with the green smoke coming out and how long it took for him
Because-
to
Thing.
down.
You can smell that transformation.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
It was like,
That
it smells like these
transformation-
microphones.
That is
Just
all
kidding.
right.
I'm sorry, I love you.
Green
That's all the
smoke.
time we have this week. No, that transformation was more gruesome than American Werewolf in Paris.
Yes.
like
Yeah.
it was.
That's some like that's some,
It was
like
so bad.
who did like the Fly? That's
Cronenberg.
That's some
Cronenberg.
Cronenberg.
Oh,
That's
that
some
one's so
Cronenberg
bad.
shit
Yeah.
right
like
there.
it seems painful.
Yes.
It seems smelly.
Smelly.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I read on IMDb that Dahl was kind of upset that the movie was so upsetting.
But the book is so scary.
was gonna
If
say,
you know what
the
I mean,
book is
like
terrifying.
even Dahl was just like, "Whoa,
Jesus.
you guys need to like reel it in a little bit."
That's
Because-
so surprising to me that he'd be mad
Yeah.
about that. 'Cause he's so
Because
dark.
Matilda's very dark, but I think the movie adaptation of Matilda
It's light.
is still so light. That I mean, it is very sad though,
It
and that
is.
little girl's face sometimes just breaks your heart.
Yeah.
But
They definitely
the
lightened
trench
it up.
bull is
She's
scary.
great on Twitter.
Oh, Matilda.
Yeah.
She is. She
That's
really
She's got a
is.
big social media presence now.
Yes, she does.
But yeah, like the trench bull is scary. I guess she is terrifying. But like she throws the kids by like their pigtails and
They make it almost
it's,
silly.
It's a little bit more silly.
Yeah.
But this has some straight up like terrifying
Its
Oh my
plot
gosh.
revolves around harming children,
Killing
too.
children.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
child murder.
Child murder. It's not good.
But the Grand High Witch is made to look a little ridiculous. You know, her voice is crazy and
So whenever I sometimes work in retail and I have to work Black Friday, I always post a picture of the Grand High Witch holding up her finger. I was just like, "This is me today."
Yep. This is me.
Today got me like-
patience.
No
Today
patience
got
at
me
all.
like, mm-mm.
Also, did you guys feel like when Bruno was first approaching her and she was getting so excited
She
about
was
the
very
plane, she was like
sexual.
gyrating?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I was
So we
like,
should
"Are
probably
you
say
about
that,
to orgasm right now?"
The Grand High Witch she wanted to
Yes.
show all of the witches her magic formula in action.
yes.
Yes.
Magic formula in action.
Formula 80,
So she gave
86.
Bruno, this chubby little kid, a bar of chocolate and said, come to this conference room at like 12:15.
And I have more
I
to
have
have
6 more
Yeah.
bars for
So we
you.
see him. When he's walking up to her,
She is
Anjelica
sexual.
Houston,
She's about to hit climax. She is
she's
on
like
her way.
throbbing.
She is. She's gyrating.
Did you have a
She's
sample
like-
of that? That audio?
Diddling herself. I don't have Bruno walking in, but I have some of the plan. And yes, I've got some.
Ooh, I
I've got
like
some
when
good
she's
stuff.
doing the plan.
You
I
should
feel like
sample
that's
some of
fun.
her dialogue because this performance by Anjelica Houston is a masterclass in acting.
It's bananas.
What she's doing with her voice is
This
incredible.
is my plan. Each of you will go back to your homes and resign from your jobs. Give notice. Retire. You will then buy, with the money I give you, sweet shops, candy stores, the very best and most respectable sweet shops in England.
Throws the money. They all just they run up to the stage.
Like throwing their wigs.
Makes it rain on these
Upstairs,
witches.
I have a trunk load of this English money. So you will be able to offer 3, maybe 4 times what these shops are worth. Go. On a certain day, when all our plans are prepared, you'll announce a great gala opening with free sweets, candies, and chocolates for every child.
Poison sweets. We'll wipe them out like weasels.
Pushbook.
Eat it. It's brilliant.
Poison. And you don't mind getting caught, exposed, vilified.
Yeah.
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 That sing-song delivery.
There's a
though.
lot
Yes,
going on.
the way she
Yeah.
does the sing-songy
A
phrases.
great
It's amazing.
Gala opening.
So
It sounds nothing like her.
So
I
we should
love it.
probably mention that Anne Hathaway is cast as the Grand High Witch
Yeah.
in the new one.
Oh,
and do you
I
think?
didn't know that.
Do you think she's gonna do that? Like
No.
something like this?
Who knows?
If she does,
That's
I
where
feel
they go
like it
with
won't
it.
be good. I'm so rude. I just don't see it.
Maybe
being
she'll surprise us.
It's
but
a
remember
hard
when she was
performance to
cast as
top.
Selena Kyle, and it was like,
Okay.
have you met Selena Kyle?
I mean,
I just don't trust
What's
her in
happening?
anything. Yeah.
You can do Les Mis. That's it.
Yeah, she did
kinda-
do
You can
great
do
in Les
Devil Wears
Miserables.
Prada,
She
and
kind
you
of
can
has
do
a
Les
vocal
Mis.
fry thing going on when she plays Catwoman too.
Yeah.
I just don't appreciate it.
don't always love her in things. Perfect.
That's how we feel.
Anne's gonna write in.
I know,
and
Anne.
I know
know.
she listens.
She was scheduled to be on next week. We're gonna have
Oh,
to
jeez.
send her
Okay,
some
sorry.
flowers.
Anne.
I'm
Love
not
you,
looking
Anne.
forward to that. What?
We'll see.
All I'm saying
We'll
is
see.
that it's going to be
Open-minded.
a really hard performance to top
Yeah.
because that's a lot.
But I mean, when you're doing something like when you're in a remake or an adaptation of a book,
This is true.
you know, I don't know, just you can't I don't think you don't have that in mind. You can't have that in mind.
You know
Just,
what's
true.
going to
do
be
your own
interesting
thing.
about
True.
this new movie is I think it's set in the South in the 60s.
Oh.
Okay.
It's a whole different
So
world.
they're going for a very different angle, and I think Grandma is played by Octavia Spencer.
Okay, well, now I'm back on board.
Okay,
So-
that actually sounds cool.
I can get into this.
There's some things that could go right in this.
yeah,
this
I
remake.
kind of like that.
Yeah,
I have a question,
sure.
but I forgot it.
All right.
Go back to it.
When you remember, you let us know.
Forget.
Do you remember where you parked the car?
Okay. Rude. Is it going to be practical effects? Do we know, or is
No
it
idea.
I don't think we know
heavy
that yet.
special effects? Because I think
Please do practical.
Yeah, I think we know.
I would be very surprised if they did practical effects.
Yeah, I would. Too.
I would be
and
too.
it wasn't all CGI.
I think
Yeah.
Del Toro's producing it.
No, really?
I think so.
Then
Wait,
we,
is that
we
real?
might have a
Yeah.
chance.
Okay, this
'Cause he
movie,
was-
the
he is-
more
So
you're
Scott is
telling me
talking
there's
about
a
it,
chance.
Yeah.
He was rumored to direct it for years too.
there's got to be.
Okay, fair.
All right,
We'll see.
all right.
All right.
We'll give it a chance. We'll give Anne Hathaway a chance.
Well, okay. So
So the kids are now mice.
yeah, okay, so Bruno becomes a mouse. Then they're all excited and they're trying to leave. And then
No!
oh shit!
It was just some dribbles. We're all right. It wasn't.
just
It
some
wasn't the
LaCroix
full
that-
We've got to
That just-
LaCroix
Okay.
down.
dribbles.
Croy dribbles.
I think some of your witchcraft books. Have a little
They've seen
LaCroix
worse.
on them.
They've gotten some spots
And yes,
of
I
LaCroix.
just said witchcraft books because I'm pretty sure that
They are
Ashley,
witchcraft
Ashley
books.
They
has spell
are.
books
Yes,
underneath
and there's
her-
a
her
demon.
coffee
There's
table.
also a demon book, which is a must read.
There's nothing wrong with that. So, okay. So they're trying to leave the conference room. And as they're walking out, one of the witches smells.
One of the witches
Luke.
who works for the hotel. So she's like the inside mole.
So
for
she
this
their
hotel.
knows
inside
the
woman.
smells of
Yep.
this room, and she knows that it does not smell like children.
Yes.
They've realized little Luke is hiding somewhere in
Ooh,
the
I
room.
just thought of something because I was like, I smell a child.
It's just like
Hocus
Hocus Pocus. I know. I
They
thought
can
about
smell
that.
children too.
Yep. Because they go around sniffing when they do their little
That's
walk.
right.
Yeah.
True.
Also, what I realized, sorry, quick side note while we mention Hocus Pocus, correct me if I'm wrong, because maybe the craft doesn't start this way, but I'm pretty sure the craft, the witches, and Hocus Pocus all have opening credits that
Yes.
start going over like a landscape of
Landscape.
trees. Isn't that funny? All the
Almost
witch
like they're
movies.
flying in a broom.
Yes. Sorry, I just noticed that and was like, hey, witch movies
Hey,
and
witch
landscape.
movies.
Well, the craft starts off on the plane ride, so I think there might be some
So it was
clouds.
supposed to be the plane.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess
I think
that
there might be
makes
some
sense.
clouds.
Or
Yeah,
a witch on a broom.
Or
What a witch on a broom. Okay, but anyway, so they smell
Anyways,
children.
They smell the children.
When I was a kid and I used to watch this, that used to give me so much anxiety thinking Luke is just behind that divider.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not hidden.
Nothing.
He could be discovered at any moment.
It's
Yeah.
so thin. It had all these gaps.
And then like I would think like how would I get out of this situation as a kid?
You wouldn't.
No, you just have to
Succumb.
like sit
well,
there.
Luke made it all the way like to the sea.
Oh yeah, literally was grabbed by 100 hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was
And
like
none
a
of them were
long-
able to stop
long
him.
protracted like chase. With
I always
Luke.
He
loved
wasn't
that.
crawling very fast.
I always
No.
I always loved that shot of the witch like gliding across the piano trying to grab him.
Yes.
Oh,
The effort put in.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
great.
and the one witch pushes a baby stroller like down a
Oh,
cliff.
yeah. Gave me so much anxiety.
So
Yeah.
I noticed last night that baby is fully like 25 years old now.
Oh my god.
The baby in the
That's
pram that gets
wild.
pushed down the
The
cliff.
baby in that stroller
Well, because
Is a
that's
full-grown
how,
is a full-grown adult now.
That's
Yeah,
how
that's wild.
Luke gets caught
Yes.
because he was trying to save the baby.
Yes.
Right.
Because a witch pushed this baby in a stroller down a cliff.
He saves it.
He runs after it to stop the stroller from falling off the cliff instead of outrunning the witches, and they catch him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he
Which
makes it out,
don't you
though.
think one of the other adults that are around screaming would be like,
Yeah.
maybe don't
What's
snatch
going on
that
here?
boy?
Right. Why are you after that child?
Or
No.
yeah, he could have run up to another adult and been like,
But he makes
I
it
don't
back-
know them.
He makes it back to the hotel.
yeah.
Because he makes it back to Grandma's room.
And the Grand High Witch is in
And
the
the
room.
Grand
Oh,
High
you're
Witch.
right.
So-
She does get
so-
back to the room.
so
'Cause
this
then he's
goes
like,
back to
Grandma,
the
why are you
backstory.
sleeping?
Yeah.
The backstory that's very like up to your imagination. Because
Grandma and the Grand High Witch.
Grandma and the Grand High Witch have a past.
They keep
Yep.
recognizing each other.
They keep recognizing each other.
That's
Because doesn't she
true.
say this is like an adversary, or she like references
Yeah.
her in some way?
She calls her an adversary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think when Grandma like falls asleep or she passes out, I think it's some witchcraft going on.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
or
no,
diabetic
I think
coma.
the
Well-
Grand High Witch like put her under a spell.
Well, the Grand High Witch was also adding way too much sugar into her coffee,
There you go.
which she can't
This is
have
true,
now
yeah.
that she's
couldn't
a
have that
diabetic.
sugar.
so do you think that
Grandma, you
Grandma-
can't have sugar. It was just a little. But then it's very, very sweet because the Grand High Witch was like
Yep.
hocus
She knew.
pocusing like more sugar in there.
So do you think that when Grandma met the Grand High Witch, she had a whole different face and a whole new look? I like to think
that
the,
could be
I like to think
possible.
that the Grand High Witch has a whole closet
Because the
of,
Grand
like,
High Witch
faces.
Changing her
because
look.
she recognized Grandma, but Grandma was just like, she's familiar, but I don't know from where.
Right.
Right.
But Grand High Witch was like, ooh, that woman. She
Yes,
knew
I
her.
know her.
So
What if the Grand High Witch is like Princess Mumby?
yes, just different heads.
Just different heads for
Very
different
possible.
moods.
What's Princess Mom?
Return to
Return
Oz.
to Oz.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
Yep.
Dorothy,
Dorothy
Gale.
Gale.
That could absolutely be the situation.
Also, That needs to go on your list. Stat. That
yeah.
movie rules.
We
It
like
does.
Return to Oz.
I
We're going to
liked
be
it.
doing Wizard of Oz before the end of the year, so maybe Return to Oz will
love
go
it.
on the season 2 lineup.
Oh,
then.
hell yeah.
Great.
Firuza Balk.
Firuza
Gotta
Balk.
love her.
Young.
Do you think the Grand
Crazy
High
eyes.
Witch took off her finger?
I don't know. Do you think her finger tingles when a witch is near?
Ooh, it might.
She has like a phantom
Feels them
finger.
here. Just like
She
the
feels
lightning
them
bolt
here.
on Harry Potter. It all comes
was
back to Harry
thinking
Potter.
that.
Yes. Like, she grabs her finger.
So the Grand High Witch apprehends Luke from Grandma's hotel, and they bring him back to the conference room. I mean, they have this whole conference room booked for the whole afternoon.
Apparently.
Yeah, why
Yeah.
do they have so
They
much
might
time
have
there?
to. They might have to order some. They might have to give back some of the deposit
Well-
because they
Right.
did just scorch a chair.
Well, it is
Yeah.
the Royal
Oh, yeah,
Society
they burnt that
for the
person.
prevention of cruelty to children.
Right.
So they've got
So-
the backing of the crown.
If they have the crown support,
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want.
Oh wow! I never thought about this.
The Royal
It's royal.
Society.
Do you think Queen Elizabeth II
really a witch?
is really a witch?
Yes.
100%.
I do now.
Yeah.
That is the
Okay,
backstory.
I'm into that.
Or they just have her fooled. Maybe she has her bewitched. She's got her under some sort of imperious curse.
What if they're like the Illuminati and
Yeah.
they're in all types of
Oh,
government?
okay. Sure.
I can see
I,
that as
I
well.
like that
Sure,
too.
sure, sure.
I like it.
They have lots of backing.
Sure. I can't do it fast enough.
So they give Luke Formula 86, and I take
Yes.
it that when you
And the child
down
will turn into a mouse.
when you down the whole potion, it's just instantaneous.
He took all 500 doses in
Yeah.
one
Yeah,
time.
because he immediately starts transforming.
Yes. So I don't think the amount of doses turns you into more of a mouse or anything. It just
Yeah.
speeds it up.
It just means it's going to be super quick.
He's an ultra mouse.
Ultra mouse. Then he turns
Because-
into a really cute mouse.
He is a very
Ju-
good mouse.
she's
He's
a
like
very
little
and
ginger
like
mouse.
Bruno's a little chubby mouse.
Yes,
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just kind of a dishwater brown.
Yeah.
But Luke is like a nice, like a
little tan.
ginger. Yeah.
Bruno is kind of not great at being a mouse.
No.
But Luke takes to it right away.
Oh, really?
yeah,
good.
it's
like
immediately
the-
here's what we're
I
going to
like
do.
the
Yeah.
kid logic
We're a
that
mouse.
when they become a mouse, they're not scared. They're just like, well, I guess this happened.
I'm
Yeah.
a mouse
I
now.
guess we're a mouse now.
So
Let's
this is
head
my life.
upstairs.
It
and
might not be
deal
so
with this.
bad. We don't have to go to school anymore.
Yeah. Immediately they were like, no more school.
Bruno
Right.
is just so food motivated
Yeah.
that he's just like, I found this ding dong in the
Right.
in the wall and doesn't even care. He's not crying.
No.
No.
He's just like,
He has a one-track
I found
mind.
a sweet
Like,
treat, you guys.
Yeah, let's eat the dessert. They're
This
hiding
frosting's delicious.
literally next to 4 witches at one point underneath a bag that once had food in it. And
Yeah.
Bruno's like, this smells like food. Should we peek inside? Luke has to be like, let's focus. Let's go.
She's got some peanuts in her purse. Dry roasted.
Dry roasted.
Because if they're honey roasted, he's out.
But
He's done.
I do appreciate that in movies, especially the movies where you already have to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it in movies like that where it's like, don't spend unnecessary time going, I don't believe it, or
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
believe you. Like when they make it back to Grandma's room and they're like, we're mice. She's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I can't believe you're mice. Instead of like, no, you're not mice.
Yeah.
Let me ask you 10 questions
Right.
to find
Knows what's
out
up.
if you're my
Yeah.
grandson.
Totally.
Like she's immediately like, yes, you're a mouse
You're a
now. What do we
mouse.
do?
Yeah.
And it's like, great. Don't waste my time.
Yes.
Now it's a race against
Get
the
to
clock.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we got to
yeah.
get to the plan.
She also, here's the thing. She puts a lot of trust in her 7-year-old son who's been a mouse
Yes.
for 4 hours.
She
Just listens
She's
to his plan
immediately like,
immediately.
yes,
Can't you
Yeah,
at
let's
least
go.
just
Get in my bag.
Can't
Let's
you at
go.
least just go carry him down to the Grand High Witch's room in her purse and then let him out?
No, it's so much better to put him in a sock and lower him
Go
slowly.
over the
Yeah,
balcony.
go
True.
over the balcony and be super suspicious. She
and
sees
just
all
let
the
this
witches.
mouse go. Yeah.
And he has to crawl all over
But
the
even
damn place.
the plan once they get into because the I don't know if we're going to go over the stuff that happens in the room. He gets chased by a cat. It's a whole
Right.
thing.
Yeah.
But
it's filler.
the plan is okay, let's use the poison
Against them.
the
Yes.
witches. So we're
Yes.
going to take some of the poison, and this tiny trained mouse carries this fucking bottle of
In
potion.
its tail.
in
It's adorable.
So cute.
His
you
little
guys.
tail didn't get fractured, wrapped around that
Right?
little bottle.
What?
And you hear it clinking against things as he
Yeah,
goes.
it's
It's
adorable.
so precious.
But
Love
the
it.
plan is to Luke, as Mouse, takes the potion into the kitchen full of cooks.
Yes.
And he's going to poison the witch's food, which is soup.
Yep.
And then
To
he's
make
got to...
them little mice as
Chris
well.
soup.
Chris
Not
soup.
cockaliki. Chris.
And then he has to make his way back by 6:15. He has to make his way into the dustpan.
Yes.
And then Grandma's going to break a glass in the
Dustpan.
dining room so that the dustpan's brought. It's like this whole elaborate
Yes.
thing that
It's
they came
really
up with in like
elaborate.
12 minutes.
How is he that smart? He
And
would
Grandma's
not.
just like, go, be back by 6:15.
Yeah.
I'll be ready for
I'll
you.
be ready.
But, I mean, it is a great plan.
I mean,
Also,
yeah.
did you guys notice who one of the cooks was in the
Yup.
kitchen?
Downton
Mr.
Abbey.
Carson.
Mr. Carson.
It was Mr. Carson, and I screamed.
Mr. Carson had a mouse in his pants.
He
did.
sure did.
I-
He also took food out of the trash and put it on a plate.
I know. I was like,
upsetting.
listen,
The kitchen-
you would never do that in Downton.
The kitchen was very cartoony. It
He
was
would
very
not
much
run
like
his kitchen that
it was
way.
all over the place.
he kind of ran it like Louis from the chef from The Little Mermaid.
Yes, he totally
Just, like,
did.
chopping everywhere to get this mouse.
Yes.
And my whole thing is too when these chefs and later on Mr. Bean, when it's like, oh, there's a mouse, I will kill it with this cleaver.
With the
I'll
biggest
just
cleaver
chop it into
ever.
pieces.
It's so brutal.
That's awful.
Did not know people always
Yeah.
reacted
Well,
that
Luke
way to
gets
mice.
his tail cut.
Aw.
does.
And when that happened, I was so sad. I was like, look, a little bit of his tail.
And he
got
just
chopped.
kind of goes like, "Ow,"
Yeah.
and moves on. I was like, "Are you all right?"
But are
So
you
good.
okay?
A bit of you just got left
Yeah.
behind.
Dang.
What is his name from Downton Abbey?
Mr. Carson.
Mr. Carson. So I remember him from Top Secret, starring Val Kilmer.
I haven't seen it.
You're
it's-
the only one.
I know. I'm the only one. It's Zucker Abraham's Zucker motion picture. The geniuses who brought us Airplane.
Oh,
Oh,
yes, okay.
Of course.
So it's a spoof movie like that,
I love
but it's
that.
about
Spies?
spies. Yes. It's called
Oh,
Top
I'm sure my
Secret.
husband has seen it. He loves those movies.
And
so
his
much.
character's name is Chocolate Mousse. No, he's not Chocolate Mousse. He's Deja Vu. Yeah, and his name is Deja Vu, and his thing is he's just like, I have we met somewhere before?
Oh, he's
And-
just having deja vu
Oh,
Yeah.
the
my
entire
God,
movie.
that's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Oh, I need to
I
watch
feel like
this
we-
I feel like I
I feel
immediately.
like we met somewhere before.
I
And
actually
he's
probably
really
own it
funny.
on DVD in my home because we literally, it's like what do we have? Not Top Gun. The one that's like Airplane. What's the other one?
Gun.
Plane 2.
Gun.
Naked Gun.
Naked Gun. I was like, it's
Yeah.
not Top Gun. That's a
Airplane
real
2.
movie. Airplane 2. The Naked Gun.
The
Like
sequel.
all of those movies, my husband will just
Well, then
watch
he'll
on
love
repeat.
Top Secret.
All right.
You should seek it out.
Another thing that I wrote down in my notes. So at one point, right before they poison the other witches, Grandma tries to give Mouse Bruno back to his shitty parents.
Yeah.
Oh, they are the freaking
And
worst.
she comes to their table and she's like, I have your son. And they're like, what? And she's like, he's with us now. And they're like, what the fuck is happening?
It wasn't a good approach.
He's in my
Yeah.
bag. And they're like, okay,
Grandma.
you fucking crazy lady. And then she opens her bag to reveal fucking rodents. And
Yeah.
of course they scream.
Brenda Blufflin
Brenda Blethyn.
loses it.
She
I don't
absolutely
blame her, though.
Carla,
goes
The approach was
Looney
terrible.
Looney Tunes style. When,
Jumps
like,
on
when,
the
like,
chair.
An old
Holding
lady
her skirt.
screams
hair,
bloody
hair stands up.
Yeah.
But then she was like, when Grandma backs away, she's like, I'm sorry, Bruno. I did my best.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
like,
did you?
I
No,
think that
you
she-
came at
do
this
your
all
best.
wrong, Granny.
She could have been a little more tactful with this.
Yes, she was terrible at
Well,
this.
But she did try
But-
to get him to go to another room.
True, and they wouldn't.
Mr. Jenkins wouldn't leave.
Yeah, because he was like, we always sit at this table. I have a
Also, the
question,
dad
though.
is the worst and is hitting on like
Horrible.
every woman in the room.
Yeah.
And I
He's
just
trying
want
to
to
pick
kick
up.
Especially Anjelica.
He's trying to pick up the Grand High Witch
Yes.
too. Yeah,
And
I
she
love
is
that she's not
annoyed.
having it.
she's
Yeah.
not happy. You collect stamps.
Yes,
Steps.
he's terrible.
I have a question
Yes,
for
what's the
everyone in the
question?
room. If you had to tell two people that you had their son in your purse
Yes.
and he was now a mouse, how would you do that?
I'd want to take them away from a public.
Oh,
place.
You
yeah.
can't. You can't.
Oh, I have
You
to tell
can't
No,
them.
do it.
same
Okay.
scenario.
Oh.
So
will not
I'm
leave
gonna,
the table.
I'm going to show you something. You cannot scream.
What about like an iPhone video?
You can't
Not
scream.
scream. This is starting
Just
bad.
okay, but
No.
I'm gonna give. Just wait 5 seconds. And this, your son's going to talk, and just listen to him.
You're
speak.
not doing any better than Grandma.
No, yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're on the
Pete?
same. Maybe like an iPhone video that I took previously. with him holding today's paper.
Well, we have a winner
today. That's it.
That's it.
Doing like he's doing like the TikTok thing that all the kids are doing right now.
TikTok video of the mouse just scurrying around.
Yeah.
All right,
But
fair.
I think Bruno's parents are a commentary on why he's such a piece of shit kid, too,
Yeah,
though.
Yeah, because his parents are awful.
Yeah. They're
not
terrible. Like, he's a bad kid. It's just a bad
Right.
family. They deserve each other.
They
They
deserve
really
each
do.
other. They deserve a mouse son.
Yeah.
So,
what they
Mr.
get.
Carson, and how does the plan unfold?
So
It turns out that the entire the witches convention has their own
Soup.
menu
Yes.
separate from the because this hotel is on it's a cliffside hotel. It's on the sea, and I guess the thing is when you're there, it's kind of like
Your
everything's
family.
there. It's when you're there,
When
your
you're there, your
family,
family.
It's like the Olive Garden.
abundanza, and it's I don't know if it's all inclusive, but when you're there, you have dinner at the restaurant. There's a bar attached, and blah blah blah. So all the patrons are having dinner that night, but the convention has kind of a private room with a separate menu from the main dining room menu.
And they're brought the special
And they have
soup.
a special soup. It's Chris soup.
Cress soup.
Because
And they-
the main dining room
Mr.
is
Bean
eating
sets up that
kakaliki soup.
all of them have requested the soup too.
Yeah, everybody. It's on their menu, so that's what they're
Everyone's
getting.
having the
it's
soup.
a it's a prefix menu.
And they had to poison something that they would all
Yes.
eat at the same time.
Yes.
Yes,
And it was the soup.
and it was a Chris soup.
What
But-
do you think cress soup is like? I was just
Is it like watercress?
That's what I'm thinking. It would have
But
to be like a watercress.
It almost looks like cheddar, though.
I thought it
the
looked
color's
like
wrong for watercress.
I
pea
thought
soup.
Yeah, it was like a little light brown. It
Yeah.
was almost like split
Did
pea
we
soup.
all see a different color?
I
soup?
know, we
Because
all-
I saw green.
I thought it looked like the
I
broth
didn't
that was
see
in
green.
like ramen, like with
Yeah.
ramen noodles.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it
Excuse
looked like.
me?
Yeah, I thought it
Okay.
looked kind of tasty.
I was not high.
Ooh,
When
that's
I
a good way to
rewatched it.
watch this film.
So maybe you were thinking watercress, and you were.
I was
imagining
really
it to be more
tired when
green.
I was watching it, so I was a little sleepy. I might have seen a different color. No, but you're with me, Pete. A little
I
light
am,
brown.
I guess,
Yeah.
right there. And you
right.
thought more of a cheddar-y color.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
really incorrect. There was no cheddar. Maybe there was. I don't know.
Well,
okay,
at any rate,
the soup went out with the bottle.
the bottle
in it.
inside of it.
Like
He
literally
dropped
the actual bottle.
all
along with the
500
liquid.
doses.
So
Doses.
when the Grand High Witches enters with her assistant, who's named
Miss Irvine.
Miss Irvine,
She says, "You're
like,
just staff."
she like berates her.
Yeah.
Because she's a good witch.
It's a very complicated relationship.
She doesn't let her come into the banquet. She's like,
Well,
"You're not
she's
here to
not
have fun. You're
a
working."
good witch yet.
Yes.
She's.
Think she changes to be a good witch?
I think she decides, like, you know what? Fuck
I
this.
don't want to work
like,
for this bitch.
this
She never
woman
wanted
is
to
the
be one of them
worst.
anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born this way.
So
But
do you
when
think
she
because she
yells at
does good things, then like she becomes like less hag? Like
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why she looks kind of cute. when
she
we're
gets like a
feeling-
better haircut at the end.
Yeah.
Like,
Real nice.
She has
Yeah.
no gloves on at the end.
Ooh,
Yes,
good
and she
call.
looks at her
Yeah.
hands, and they're not.
But
all
I think she
gnarly.
changes because of that moment. Because we
Yes.
also hear her go, "I quit because I was just
Yes.
yelled
I
at by my
will
boss.
not be spoken to this
No,
way.
Yes.
I'm out of here."
And it's a good thing
Because she didn't eat any
everyone
soup.
that is in the room turns into a mouse.
Yeah,
They ate
and
the
some
soup.
people turn into really fucking gross mice.
Oh my
like
God.
the
The
most
High
hideous
Witch.
mice.
Holy shit.
The mouse that she turns into,
Holy-
once again, as I've been settling,
When the-
disturbed
When the Grand
me
High
for
Witch
years.
is like in mid transformation,
mid-transformation
she
look.
sort of
Good
she sort of
Lord.
looks like a Skeksis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she
Definitely.
totally does.
definitely.
Oh my gosh, she looks just like them from
Yeah.
the show, the remake that
The
is
Dark
on right
Crystal.
now. Yes, I was like,
So,
what is that? I just
Grandma
watched that.
has this face off with the Grand High Witch. That's
Yeah.
like amazing. Mm-hmm. It's like this, like I'm not finished with you, old woman.
Yep.
Oh, I think you're talking about this.
This.
Most evil and appalling woman in the world.
Oh, that sound.
Yeah.
Hideous. Disgrace. Yeah, Grandma.
Yeah, Grandma.
Get it. Oh, woman. No, next time. This time, it's your turn.
You don't even need to watch this scene. Just listen.
Your turn.
Oh, that little giggle at the end.
It's
horrendous.
This bitch fight.
She says, this time
between
it's
these
your
two.
turn
That's right, bitch.
to be a mouse.
And there she goes.
Do you think maybe she turned Grandma into a mouse for
I don't think so. I think she just she had just perfected this. I think this was the first. Yeah, this was the first.
And again, we have quite a brutal murder when Mr. Bean comes and lifts the glass off Grand High Witch and uses his big old cleaver.
Yeah, because who was it? Grandma? Did she trap her under the jug?
Under the jug, but then
And
Mr. Bean walks over and uses his
There's
knife.
a particularly diseased mouse over there.
And he again cleavers her.
And gets green all over his face. And
Yes.
it's just a real treat.
So do you think
That's the thing too. When she stomps on a mouse at some point in the movie.
Yeah.
Was it another witch?
It's the cook mouse.
The cook mouse.
Oh, that's right.
She gets stomped on. Yeah.
She gets stomped on, and it's just like
all
green
gross.
pus.
Yeah.
Splurts out.
Gnarly. It's
And so when
gross.
all the witches turn into mice, everyone else in the hotel just starts stomping on all of them,
Yep,
and
going
they
crazy.
all get smushed.
They all die.
Do you think this hotel's closing down?
You know what? This was not a great weekend.
Their
This wasn't a good
letter
look
grade
for
might
them.
drop.
I like the shot outside the hotel when the camera pans up to Bubbles in the window with the note from Luke. I like everyone is just running out of this hotel.
Yeah,
Yep.
everyone's like, well,
They're
you're
just running
screwed.
for it.
You are
Yeah.
finished.
Yeah, you're done.
So they go back home.
Well, Luke drops off a note to the assistant.
Not only that, he also switches some tags on
Yes,
the
it's
And
suitcases.
some luggage.
Yeah.
That's right. He's
So that,
again. Why is he so brilliant?
I know. Why is this 7-year-old?
Amazing plan.
Always
He's a
thinking.
better. Here's the thing. He's a better mouse than a boy.
So
Yes,
I always
he is. He's a great
thought
mouse.
that the assistant sent all of that to him.
No,
Miss
he
Irvine?
goes and,
I always thought Miss Irvine did it.
No, he has a little tag, a luggage tag, and that's the little note that he.
Because his grandma even
I
goes,
always
I
thought
still
that-
don't
I
get why
always
you
thought
want me
that
to
you
do this,
see-
but
Yeah.
here you go.
But
She
don't you
didn't even
see-
understand.
But don't you see Miss Irvine holding it though in the window?
Oh, I don't. I
You
didn't
see
think
her
so.
holding it in the window. I
I
think.
don't remember.
You
Yeah,
could be
I
right. I'm
think
not
that,
sure.
I think that he gives it to her
She sends it back.
to send back.
that
Yeah.
might be
That
the
could
case.
be true.
Regardless, they get a suitcase full of fucking money.
Yeah.
Like so much
A Louis
money.
Vuitton.
English
And
money.
apparently,
Yeah.
Trunk of
all they
cash.
spend it on is tiny objects for the mouse to.
Yeah, he gets a train,
A little mouse
all
monorail.
these tubes. Yeah, he rides the monorail
It's like a
into
mouse-
the bedroom
mouse
at night.
plane.
Then he has a mansion that he sleeps in, and he has silk sheets that he gets tucked
Oh
in.
yeah, did we forget to mention he's just a mouse now?
Yep, and he's living his best life.
He's living in the Ghostbusters.
He's living in the Ghostbusters firehouse.
firehouse.
Yes.
Which
Also, go on.
I was going to say, which when I was a kid, I'd be like, I'm on board if this ever happens to
This
me
is
and I'm a
fucking
mouse.
awesome.
This looks amazing.
The only downfall, though, is the fact that it's super dark because they're laying there going to sleep, and he's like, "How long do mice live?"
Yes,
Grandma?"
so that's
it's not very
oh
long.
shit!
Oh,
He's
God.
got 3 years.
That's it.
So that's from the book.
I was going to
Do you remember
say,
that?
in the book, that's one
Yeah.
of the darkest parts is that he just realizes I'm a mouse that's not going to live very long, and that's the end. There's
Yeah.
no redemption
But-
like there is in the
But
movie.
Grandma's got diabetes.
But
She's not going to
Luke-
live very long either.
But
You're
Luke
right.
is looking on the bright side when he's a mouse because in the book he thinks well, you're getting old. I'm
Yeah.
not going to live all that long, so we won't have to live without each other for all that long.
We'll just live our lives out the best we can.
just
Getting all the
live-
witches in
live
America.
one day at a time.
I
pretty
know,
dark.
but he asks how long do mice live, and she's like, I don't know. She's got tears in
Yeah.
her eyes.
Yeah.
It's really dark.
It's emotional.
They also, in that scene, that's when they plan on traveling the
Yes.
world
America.
to find other witches.
Other witches.
to
Because they found the Grand
murder.
Witches book of where all the witches live in the U.S. So they're
Her
like,
hand-
let's go
And he
get
Her
them.
got that-
handwritten
and he
book.
got that from the assistant.
Yeah, because it was sent
Yeah.
with the
It was
case
sent
of
with the
money.
case.
So I
You're
do
right.
think you're correct in that
Yeah.
she
Right.
sent everything.
And I think that's a really great setup for a revenge sequel.
I know.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
surprised that he never wrote a follow-up book because he wrote.
They leave it open
He
to
wrote
be one.
sequels to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
Maybe he did it thinking I'm going to go back to it, and he just never did.
Right. It's true.
Maybe.
book
there's
written?
nothing to go back to because they're both going to die in a couple of years.
True.
Also
It's true.
It's like this won't last
Yeah.
very long.
Also, how many adventures can one old woman and one
Right.
Tiny mouse.
have?
That's very true.
What do you think the Grand High Witch of America, or I mean the
Dolly Parton.
Ooh.
Witch of America, Dolly Parton?
She's definitely the High
She's
Witch
the
of
grand
America.
high, she's
Yeah.
the High Witch of America for
goodness.
sure.
I don't think Dolly would be into such evil magic.
Oh, she's too good.
She's
That's
a good witch.
why she's
a good witch.
The
Like
perfect candidate.
Stevie
she's a,
Nicks.
she's a good witch like Bubbles. It might be Stevie Nicks.
Yeah, guys, so we didn't mention, like, the book ends on a very sad note where Luke is just a mouse, but the movie ends on a lovely note of
Yes.
Bubbles coming back as a good witch, and
Yes.
she turns him
I
back
prefer
into
the
a
book
boy.
ending.
Yeah, keep it a little dark.
I do. I mean, that's a like fucked up. And I mean, I guess it's a kids movie, so you don't need a fucked up
I
ending.
think that's
but,
why
like,
is they were like, shoot, this is for kids. Let's turn him back
maybe we
into
should
a boy.
Turn him back into a boy. So
Yeah.
they're not just sitting here pondering his death as they fall asleep.
And he also yells out the window, "Don't forget,
Don't forget
Bruno!"
That
Yeah.
part's actually so cute. Like,
It
please
is.
don't forget Bruno. He's
But
still a
also,
mouse.
like, we can forget Bruno.
Yeah,
Bruno's
it's
happy.
all right. And also, like, he's eating all the things he could ever
Also,
eat as a
Yes.
mouse and fuck
Yes.
his parents. So
Yeah, the thing is like, what kind of life is that kid going to have anyway?
a terrible
Sure.
one.
Just die a mouse.
I know. Maybe Granny should have adopted him and showed him a
There
better
you
life.
go.
Giving him some discipline.
His
Yeah,
parents would have been
seriously.
like, "Sure, just take him."
I know.
Sure,
I
it's
don't
fine.
think he would have
Mouse.
objected.
No.
Man. What a
Bruno
film.
didn't have a train, I'll tell you that much.
That's
No.
right.
So yeah, that's the Witches.
It's
Boy, oh
it's a
boy.
movie.
I love this movie.
It's a
And,
lot of fun.
Yeah, like what I was saying, I feel like what made us gay about this is that just the Grand High Witch is
Yeah.
just so
It was a
over the
very-
top and campy. Angelica Huston's crazy delivery.
She had like trunks of clothes and
Yes.
like
Lovely outfit.
masks everywhere, and this crazy dress that was like this convertible dress thing that
Yeah.
had like the weird attached
Yep.
shawl.
Oh,
kind
her
of-
style.
It kind of looked like it was corseted too.
It
Yeah,
did a little bit.
yeah.
Her style was
She has
amazing.
this cute bob wig.
Yeah, she has her bob haircut.
Yeah. Great lip color.
Yeah,
Just nailing it.
And also, I think that all probably gay little boys and little girls just want to be witches too.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
doesn't
think
wanna
that's
be
a
a
very...
You just want to be magical.
I did used to kind of fantasize when I would think about this movie. I was like, well, what if I was a witch from this movie? And I was just like, what would my whole deal be? Would I be a bad witch? Would I be a good witch? I don't
Well,
know.
the thing
Would
is,
you have a
you don't
platform?
even find out that there's good witches till the
Yes.
very end.
Yes.
The very,
Yeah.
very end. You think they're all just terrible
Yeah.
and hate the smell of children.
And in the book, they are.
Yeah.
There's no good witches.
Right.
right.
Yeah. They're all
That's true.
evil. The grandmother in the book was actually inspired by Roald Dahl's actual grandmother.
Oh.
And when he was a kid, he used to spend every summer holiday with his family in Norway.
Yes.
And he was very inspired by bedtime stories of witches and magic. And I thought
That's
that was very
awesome.
special.
Roald Dahl. You're a doll.
He didn't like this movie at all.
But
Okay,
he hated
wow.
this one. But he also didn't like Charlie
he
and
didn't
the
like Charlie
Chocolate
and the
Factory.
Chocolate Factory either.
Well, and
So-
in the book, the grandma, I don't think, if I remember correctly, she wasn't as kind as she was in this movie. I thought she had a little bit
okay.
of darkness to her. That's what I
Interesting.
thought. Which maybe Roald Dahl loved that about his grandma because he's a little dark.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I
don't
true.
know.
Yeah,
He liked that stern grandmother.
Yeah. She was a little more like on the edge.
yeah. I always appreciated that this movie kind of didn't talk down to kids
Yeah.
Yes.
because it was scary. It was
Yep.
like
The world is scary.
Yeah, and this is how the real witches are, and
Yep.
and I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you.
And you
because
need to be careful.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all like the original Grimm's fairy tales that
Yeah.
didn't
Exactly, yeah.
hold
They
back.
didn't sugarcoat it.
They were
Yeah,
meant to
yeah.
teach children lessons. This
Yeah.
the lesson of this movie is don't talk to strangers.
Which is a great lesson. Don't come
Yeah.
down from your treehouse when someone's
Yeah.
offering you chocolate and a
And a
snake.
snake. Yeah.
We're a chocolate
That happens a
Stay
lot.
up
Or
there.
a chocolate snake. Stay up there.
Yeah. Oh man.
I also love witches with giant, like big noses.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't see that
Classic.
enough in pop
Classic
culture.
trope.
A
Yeah.
wart on a nose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
it-
hideous.
The ugly witch is the same as like the like ugly vampire. You know,
Yes.
vampires all of a sudden got
Yes.
very sexy
Right.
and like sparkly.
No, they
And
used to
witches
be
at the same
nasty.
time got very sexy and like
Yes.
you know what I mean? And it's
Yes.
like no, but if you go back, they are very, very gruesome.
I love an old
The
hag.
old
Yeah.
crone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
did you like Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunters.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's better than you think it is.
Okay.
It's kooky.
It's pretty campy.
I've heard it. Yeah, it was like, I think people like it because it's funny.
It's
not
better.
that
It's better than you think it is. And their Grand High Witch is Famke Janssen.
It's Famke Janssen. Yeah,
Famke Janssen?
And whenever
The Famke
X-Men's Famke Janssen.
And when I
Love
heard
that.
that they were doing a remake of this movie, I just immediately went to her. Of like, oh well, obviously
she would be
Yes.
you're going to
great.
have
She
Famke
would be
Janssen
really
be the Grand
great.
High Witch.
Man.
Who else would be a good... I mean, Meryl Streep can do anything.
Yes.
But I think she would be great.
Ooh,
So I
she
read,
would.
I read that they wanted Cher, but they couldn't get her because she was pretty busy in the late 80s.
For this
Yes.
original
This
movie.
Oh,
for
I
this
was
one.
like, what is she doing?
What is she
Yeah,
doing?
they
Is she
wanted-
doing Stuck on You too?
She could pull it off. No, but she was wanted for the original. But
Yeah.
then
That would have been cool.
she would have done a really good job. But
Cher's a great
Anjelica
actress.
was
I
great.
would have
She
liked
was.
to have seen big 80s hair
Mm-hmm.
Cher on
The big
Grand High
curly
Witch.
wig.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would have.
Speaking of Selena
route.
Kyle, though, Michelle Pfeiffer would make a really great Grand
Yes,
High
she
Witch.
would.
She would be.
Yes, she would.
She played witch.
A blonde witch.
She played a witch in Stardust too.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
We can't double up.
She feels very witchy. I like her.
A blonde witch. You don't see that
Yeah.
that often.
Maybe she'll
See
be
that very
playing
often,
a
except for
maybe-
everywhere now.
Yeah, now.
Sarah Jessica
Maybe she'll be
Parker.
playing a
Dark Witch.
witch
Oh, there you
in the yet to be released Maleficent 2.
Oh.
Mistress of Evil.
She may have some powers in that. We don't
She's
She may be
got,
witchy.
look
We
at that
don't
face.
know.
She's got powers.
100%.
She has powers.
know. She mesmerizes me with one look. Those are her powers.
So, any final thoughts about the witches?
I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's such a
it's
good.
really fun.
This is definitely. Have you done a kids movie yet on? Like a kids movie. I know you did like Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, which is
Not
kind of
anything
like
quite like
teen,
this.
Yeah.
preteen.
Yeah.
But this is for children.
It
Yeah,
was
this
for
is a
kids.
children's
Yeah.
movie for sure.
And it's
It's
super
good.
over the top and flamboyant when it needs to be.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I really
It's
like
great.
it. It was
the camp
it was fun.
level is high.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
high
Yeah.
camp. I
Yeah.
loved watching it as an adult because there was so much I didn't notice as a kid that I
Yeah, for
understand
sure.
more. So it was
Yes,
a lot of fun.
definitely.
And
I
I'm not
agree.
as disturbed anymore, even though stuff was still gross. Like it was nightmare fuel.
I don't know. Erica still brought
Oh no,
me
that
shit.
part
Yes.
because that's like adult horror as
Yes.
well.
Yes,
That's
the Erica
existential.
stuff is-
Yes.
And I feel
Oof,
like
a lot.
it kind of goes underrated when the Halloween month comes around. People
Yeah.
usually don't think about it.
You wouldn't pick it to watch.
when you think
But
of
it's-
really good movies about witches. But
Anjelica
yeah.
Huston, she's got the Grand High Witch and she's got Morticia Adams
Yes, she
under
does.
her belt.
What a spook!
She's got a
She's-
spooky
She's
back
probably,
catalog.
she's probably pretty used to scaring children in public.
Probably.
So
she just has a
did you
face
read?
that'll scare you.
Did you read the Vulture interview with her
No.
about 3 months back? It was great.
Oh, I'll
if
have
you
to
just
check it
want
out.
to read a very candid interview with her
About
Hell
Hollywood.
yeah.
about Hollywood, I mean, she's
I mean, I read her biography. It's great.
yeah,
Her
And
autobiography.
and she talks about beating Oprah at the Academy Awards
Ooh.
and how Oprah
Oh,
never
yeah.
had her on her show. She did
Oh,
say
she was jelly.
She did say that she went over to for like an Academy party and she was talking to Clint Eastwood, and Oprah just came up and stood right in front of her and proceeded to talk to Clint Eastwood.
Dang.
Yeah.
Well,
That's some shade right
don't
That's
cross
some shade
Oprah.
right
there.
There's
Don't
that-
cross her.
That lesson.
Dang.
So
Thanks for coming on the show,
thank you
guys.
for coming
Thank you
on.
so
Of
much for
course.
having us.
It was an honor.
It was a lot of fun, as usual.
So we definitely
usual.
listen to your podcast. Should
Yes.
we talk about it
Yeah.
a little bit?
Why don't
Do
you
guys
tell
have
our
anything
guests-
fun coming up on Keep It Weird?
You know what? We're taking October off
To
before
enjoy.
to enjoy.
Fun.
And then we've got November and December coming up. We've got a couple really cool episodes in the can.
Cool.
Nothing that we're announcing yet,
Oh, yeah.
but
Definitely listen in.
oh yeah, definitely listen in. And
there'll
this
still be
month
spooky
we're
stuff on
having
our
some
social
like
media.
cool contests on social
Yes.
media where you
Wow.
can win prizes. You can win
Prizes.
Keep It Weird merch and
Love
like
it.
cool stuff. So
Yeah. Follow
check
us.
that out. Oh yeah, follow us on social media at Keep It Weirdcast across all platforms, and our podcast is called Keep It Weird. You can listen to it literally anywhere.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
You guys can listen to us as well. We would love for you to like and subscribe to our podcast if you haven't already done so. Give us 5 stars. You can find us at Movies That Made Us Gay on Instagram and Facebook, you guys.
Yes, and remember to give us 5 stars.
Yes, always give us 5
Always 5.
stars. You should go to your local Best Buy to where they have all the computers and open up iTunes on them. And
Like it.
play.
Across
Find it.
all computers.
If you're ever at a friend's house and they have Apple TV, just go right onto the podcast app and just
and give
Like
us
it
5
immediately.
stars.
That's hilarious.
That's so good.
And I'm using that for
I mean,
Stealing
it's,
it.
You know, it's just
I have
an
so many
idea.
people that are like, I don't have Apple. And I'm like, well, get it.
Go find a way then.
Get one.
Yeah.
It's
You
not
don't
my
need it.
problem.
We're also on Google Play, whatever that thing's called.
Yeah, I'm like, I think we're on some other platforms we don't understand.
Well, thank you so much for coming on our show.
Thank
You guys
you.
were amazing. This was a great time.
Oh my God.
I told you
Guys.
enough.
it's actually
Sit
the witches. It's actually the witches clapping
The
for you.
witches are like, that was wonderful.
They're
Thank
throwing
you.
their wigs.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Have a spooky rest of your month. We'll be back.
This is